How you guys doing today? It's Jake from the Fourth Liners podcast. So today we're doing a different type of video where we predict the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. So we just figured out the positions of each team and where they're picking with the top 3 picks as Buffalo number 1, Seattle number 2, and Anaheim number 3, and then 4 and so on after that. And you might agree with my picks or you might not. I'd like to hear it in the comments if you do. This draft is kind of interesting where a lot of players can go number 1, number 2, number 3. You really don't know. There's a lot of options for teams, and I'm very interested to see what happens and interested to see what you guys think that's going to happen. So comment below if you agree with any of my picks. I mean, Owen Power is supposed to be projected first, but guys like Matthew Beniers or like even Simone Edvinsson can go number 1. So we're going to dive deep into that and see what my picks are for the NHL draft and see if they're accurate when the draft actually comes. So let's get into it. So with the first overall pick, we have the disappointing Buffalo Sabres. And I think at this point, the Buffalo Sabres shouldn't try really doing anything different from what the rankings are and just go with the best player in the draft, which is Owen Power. He's 6'5", 214 pounds. He's a beast. He's rated number 1 by a lot of scouts. And this guy can play a great hockey. He's supposed to be playing at the University of Michigan next year, so he won't be playing on the Buffalo Sabres, so he'll have time to progress when the Buffalo Sabres are bad. And honestly, I was thinking maybe Matthew Beniers here or maybe a centerman, but I think they should go with the safe pick, Owen Power, and just think of Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power on the D-line together and how insane that would be to get past, and just a great addition to their team. Owen Power has been rated to go number 1 for a while now. He played at the University of Michigan, great hockey there. He is just an all-out stud, and I think that he will fit the team well. I think going with him instead of a centerman would be good for them, just to build up that decor and make it even stronger. Having Rasmus Dahlin, and especially after the season they had, and just adding to great prospects in their system. This year he put up, in 26 games played, he put up 3 goals, 13 assists for total points of 16. That's close to being a point per game player, and that's pretty good for a defenseman as well. You don't play as many games as this year, especially with COVID coming into fact here that they didn't get really to play as many games as they wanted to play. He's Canadian, playing in the NCAA too, which is amazing. I think that's a great route for young guys like this, and they usually turn out to be amazing. Like guys like Cale Makar. He's even though Cale Makar takes similar routes to that to what he's doing, is he's very compared to Victor Hedman, which is a Norris winning defenseman, and he's just one of the franchise players on Tampa Bay. So when you can have a Victor Hedman on a Buffalo Sabre team, maybe that'll turn it around, and you never know. His plus minus is 16, so he's there for the plus minus. He's there for goals against the other team, not for, and that's what the Buffalo Sabres need. And this is why they're picking Owen Power first overall. All right, for second overall, the Seattle Kraken bumped up from number 3 to number 2, taking the Anaheim Ducks spot, which is pretty good for them to start off their franchise. And number 2, I have Matthew Beniers, or however you say his name. I really don't know yet, but we will know how to say his name soon because he's going to be the future of the Seattle Kraken. He's going to be their future centerman. He's kind of compared to a Patrice Bergeron, which he can be offensive and be defensive at the same time. He is a point per game player, having 10 goals, 14 assists for total 24 points in 24 games played. He's 21 plus for plus minus. That's pretty impressive for a player of his caliber, and being compared to Patrice Bergeron, that's amazing. Guys won Stanley Cups, so I think he's a pretty good guy. He's 6'1", 174 pounds. He could contend for the first overall pick for the Buffalo Sabres. It just depends what route they want to go. But if it comes down to him going to second overall, the Seattle Kraken really should pick this guy. He is amazing. He wasn't rated as higher as as how high he is now, because he's exceeded his game over the year, and I really think he deserves to be that second overall pick, and I think he's going to be. And for the third overall pick, the Anaheim Ducks will select Dylan Guenther. Yes, this pick might be controversial for some people as they have him ranked a lot lower, as low as 8 overall, which could happen, but I honestly think this would benefit the Anaheim Ducks, as yes, they maybe could pick a defenseman like Brandt Clarke at this position, but having a sniper on that wing for Trevor Zegras would be amazing. You look at their forward prospects, and honestly, Trevor Zegras is really the only one that stands out to me. Jacob Perreault, Braden Tracy, Maxime Comtois, Lundstrom, those are the other good ones, but this is just a guy to add to that forward prospect core. And you know, if you can do that, you can have an elite sniper that can either play the left wing or the right wing. He's more than a point per game player in the WHL, which is unbelievable. He's going to be an elite sniper in the NHL for any team that picks him, but the Anaheim Ducks will really benefit from Dylan Guenther. He was rated higher in the season, earlier in the season, but now he's dropped a bit. I really think that he shouldn't have dropped. He should have stayed up in the top 3 pick, and I really think Anaheim Ducks could end up picking Dylan Guenther, and he's a plus 19. This guy has unbelievable stats. Like, he's exceeding every guy that I've seen so far in the draft and in their stats per game, and he puts up 12 goals, 12 assists for 24 points total in 12 games. Unbelievable. I would pick this guy in a heartbeat. And at 4th overall, we have the New Jersey Devils picking brother of Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes is a great offensive defenseman, and just imagine having a brother tandem where the center of your team is your franchise center, and then the brother of him is your franchise defense. Alongside from that storyline, you have a great defenseman here in Luke Hughes. He can be amazing offensively, as for the U.S. national U18 team, he put up 34 points played in 38 games. I mean, what can you ask for more in an offensive defenseman as Luke Hughes? He can also be defensive too. He's a 0 on the plus minus, but he's played for a few teams this year. In the USHL, he's a plus 5, so he is proven to be a plus guy on the ice. He's going to be playing for the University of Michigan next year, so he'll have time to progress and grow his game in the NCAA, which is an amazing route for players, as I said before. He's been scouted forever just because of his brothers, Quinn Hughes and Jack Hughes. But that Hughes family is known for producing great hockey players, and that storyline, Jack Hughes even said himself, if he's there, we're picking him. And I think the New Jersey Devils are going along with that, and they're picking an amazing defenseman with Luke Hughes, which can be their franchise defenseman. At the 5th position, for the 5th overall pick, the Columbus Blue Jackets will select William Eklund. William Eklund's a center/left winger, so he's a very versatile player. He can play either or. The Columbus Blue Jackets can really benefit from having a centerman as well, because they've lost Dubois and other franchise players in their system, which this guy can easily replace them and kind of turn around the Columbus Blue Jackets, and that's the guy they're kind of looking for. He ranks as low as 10th overall and as high as 1st overall, but mostly people rate him at 5th overall, and I can see why. His size, he is 5'11". He weighs 172 pounds, which scouts say that doesn't really affect his game. He puts up points for his team. He has 11 goals, 12 assists for a total of 23 points in 40 games played. He is a -2, so this is why he is a little lower, not actually at that 1st overall position or 2nd or 3rd or 4th. This is why he's a good 5th overall pick, and I think he'll fit in well with the Columbus Blue Jackets. His size obviously won't affect him. I think he's really jumped up in the rankings for the draft, as he wasn't projected like a year ago to be at the position he is, and his game is exceeding as much as any of the other guys in the draft, and I can really see them benefiting picking William Eklund, as it will replace a type of player like Dubois, and Kakalainen, this is the kind of player that he likes. Also, picking a guy in the SHL, where they play with men and not boys, as you can say, really increases their game and really makes them a better hockey player, being more prepared for the NHL. And I think being his size and being able to stand out in that kind of league where you can play with men really shows how he doesn't let that size affect him, and it's going to be a great pick, and he's a great player, and he will be a great player in the NHL too. And at the 6th overall pick, we have Jesper Wallstedt. Jesper Wallstedt is the first goaltender we're going to see in this draft. It's 6th overall is pretty high for a goaltender. But if you ever seen him play in the World Juniors, he really proved himself to be a great goaltender and a future great goaltender in the NHL. The Detroit Red Wings will really benefit from him because they haven't had like a bona fide franchise goaltender ever since Jimmy Howard was in his prime, which was a long time ago, or Chris Osgood, or guys like that. So they have a great prospect pool for their forwards and their defense. Moritz Seider, Joe Veleno, Zadina, but now they need a goaltender, which Jesper Wallstedt, if he's available at number 6, why not take him, and why not have that great goaltender that you can rely on and be the next Hank Lundqvist, but taken at 6 overall a lot earlier. And he has a 9.908 save percentage, which is amazing. He is in the SHL too, so he's playing with men, a much harder league than it is playing in the OHL or WHL. And like I said, he proved it in the World Juniors that he was a contender, and he made it hard for teams to win against him. And this guy is going to be one of the highest goaltenders picked since Jonathan Bernier or Carey Price, or he deserves to be there. And I think the Detroit Red Wings, if we're basing this off of what they need, a goaltender, a franchise goaltender is what they need, and that's what Jesper Wallstedt is for them. And with the 7th selection in the NHL Entry Draft, the San Jose Sharks will select Brandt Clarke. Brandt Clarke, honestly, is an amazing defenseman. Some people compare him to Owen Power and saying he's better than Owen Power, and that's a lot of praise for a young defenseman like Brandt Clarke. He's not playing with his usual Barrie Colts. He's playing with NOVE ZAMKY. I probably butchered that, but he's playing on a loan in the Czech or Europe League, wherever that is, and he's getting that experience playing with men under his belt. And I think franchises in the NHL will see that, and they'll like that. That kind of pushes forward his development in his game, and that kind of makes him more NHL ready playing with men in that league, because it's already a professional league compared to the OHL. So that increases his value. This might be controversial. People might think he might be taken 3rd, 2nd overall, 1st overall. Who knows in this draft, honestly. It's very controversial, this whole thing. But I think he will drop to 7th overall. Yes, maybe Detroit picks him with that 6th overall pick instead of a goaltender with Jesper Wallstedt, or Anaheim will pick him 3rd overall instead of Dylan Guenther, because if they want to pick a defenseman instead of a winger. But I think he might drop down to number 7 just because of the players ahead of him, and the needs of the teams are a little different. And I think he slots in well with the San Jose Sharks because they do need to start turning over that core to a younger core. A lot of their players are getting older, and their cap is they're getting really expensive for how old they are, and they can't sign players in free agency. And the Brandt Clarke's a great guy to turn around their franchise and what they're trying to do, and trying to get back to that point where they made the Stanley Cup Finals. So at the 8th overall pick, I have the LA Kings picking Simone Edvinsson. So I know I keep saying a bunch of my picks are controversial, but I think this one people might not agree with the most. This guy has bumped his way up to number 2 in the draft rankings for a lot of people. And honestly, I can see why, but I can also not see why. I think teams will have players that are available still in the draft that fit their needs a lot more than Simone Edvinsson will. I think Brandt Clarke's a better defenseman than him, and I also think Owen Power's a better defenseman than him. The one thing that he has an advantage is that he is playing in the SHL now with Frölunda, and he could benefit from that playing in a men's league, as I've said before. But he is more of a stay-at-home defenseman. I don't think he is really that, offensive power that Brandt Clarke might be, right? And maybe like teams want that, but I think the LA Kings really need a player like Simone Edvinsson, where they already got Quinton Byfield, Alex Turcotte, Arthur Kaliev, Akil Thomas for their forward core, but who do they really have for a defense prospect? They have Drew Doughty there still as their top defenseman and still one of the top defensemen in the league. But they're missing that defense prospect. And adding Simone Edvinsson, if he's available at this position, amazing defenseman to pick. I'm not trying to hate on Simone Edvinsson, but I just don't know why he's rated so high, especially second overall. I think he does drop the 8th overall to the LA Kings, and I think they get a great defenseman there and their future defenseman to maybe eventually play alongside Drew Doughty. Who knows? And at 9th overall, we have the Vancouver Canucks picking Kent Johnson. Kent Johnson's honestly one of my favorite players in this draft. I think any team can build their future around this guy. He's an amazing centerman. He's more than a point per game guy. He has 27 points in 26 games played. He's a plus 16. He's a positive guy on the ice. I mean, he's another Michigan guy, which is a billion of Michigan guys being drafted in the top 10. I'm exaggerating there, but I also know Bryce will love this pick. Kent Johnson is just an amazing player. I don't know why I have him rated 9th overall, but I think because of the needs of the other teams, he will be pushed down a bit, which is kind of sad. I think Kent Johnson can be a franchise centerman for a team, or not even like maybe a first line or second line forward. Honestly, you really don't know. But what he has proved in the University of Michigan already, I think will portray into the NHL and really help with the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks are already an amazing team with Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, Bo Horvat, and all their young guys, right? Quinn Hughes. They already have an amazing goaltender with Thatcher Demko. Why not add another centerman to have along that center depth? You know that's proven for teams to win hockey games and win Stanley Cups. And this is a guy that can compete, and I like his style of play. He's a really good player, and he can contribute to the Vancouver Canucks and contribute to any team that he'll be drafted to. Honestly, he should be higher rated, but I think this is where he's going to go because just of the needs of the other teams. And at the 10th overall selection, we have the Ottawa Senators selecting the guy with the coolest name in the 2021 NHL Entry Draft, or even the NHL, honestly, Chaz Lucius. We saw Chaz Lucius in the World Juniors, and he really proved himself to be an elite sniper. I have him going number 10. I mean, there's a billion other guys after him that can go number 10. I mean, you have Cole Sillinger, you have Sebastian Cossa if you want to go a route with the goaltender, which Ottawa could end up doing. But this guy he's really jumped his way up, and after that World Juniors, I remember watching him, and I remember just being a fan of how he played, even though I'm a Canadian watching the Americans. For him to stand out to me, he had to be really good. And this guy in 20 games played, he has 13 goals and 7 assists, so he can really put up those goals, which Ottawa can benefit from. I mean, you add to that forward core there, which Ottawa's going to be a nasty team in a few years, and adding Chaz Lucius just makes them even nastier. He has an amazing name. I mean, imagine that on the back of an Ottawa Senators jersey. Their brand new jerseys look amazing, and Chaz Lucius needs to be on that team. I mean, you could have Cole Sillinger, Otto Ratti, or Sebastian Cossa, which would be good picks too, honestly. And you never know, one of the top 10s I said before him could drop down to this pick. But this is kind of where you don't know who's being picked at what point. And I think he would be a great 10th overall selection just because of what he's proven in the World Juniors, and he's going to be an elite sniper in the NHL one day. Well, there you have it, the top 10 picks for the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. Well, at least I think those will be the picks in the draft, but let's be real here. I'm no Bob Mackenzie. I'm no TSN analyst that knows all these stats about these young, great players. I mean, it is known to everyone that Owen Power is going to go first overall to the Buffalo Sabres, and I think they'll go for the safe pick, picking Owen Power, being the best player known in this draft. Have Matthew Beniers at number 2 going to Seattle, being their franchise starter for that center core there. And Dylan Guenther going 3rd overall, and then so on. I could keep listing them all, but that's a lot of guys. But any of these guys could end up anywhere in the draft. It's such a diverse draft. I love that idea of having a diverse draft where anyone can go anywhere. It was a lot of fun doing this video, honestly. I think if I had to pick a favorite prospect in this pool, I think it would be Kent Johnson. I just think he's an amazing player. He'd probably go higher than 9th overall, but Bryce would like him going to the Vancouver Canucks because that'd make them even more nastier than they already are. It's sad that I can't see the Toronto Maple Leafs picking a top 10 pick because they really need it. Who knows that even would help them. But tune into our podcast that comes out every week. We've been busy this past week and came up with some stuff, so me and Bryce didn't do one this weekend, so we'll get right back into it. Let us know in the comments if you like this video. We'll do more like this. I had a lot of fun doing it. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere. I mean, Instagram. We like to see your interaction with us. We have a lot of fun doing this. It's just for fun, it's for joy for us. Let's see if this actually happens in the NHL draft. I really could see it happening this way. I don't think I went too off the rails with my picks, but I could have done that. But I think this is really how it's going to turn out. And I want to hear if you guys think this will turn out this way too. Thanks for watching, guys. We love you. Thanks for everything.